Professor Abdul Ghafar Ismail, Islamic Banking and Financial Economic and Islamic Research and Training Institute, Islamic Development Bank. Mr. Aamir Abdul Rehman, Managing Director, Fajr Capital, United Arab Emirates. Mr. Babur Tolbayev, CEO, Bulak, Kyrgyzstan. May I please kindly ask you to have a seat? The stage is yours.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Your Excellencies, distinguished panelists, welcome to this afternoon session. I do hope you have plenty of caffeine in you to get us through this and the following session. With the Islamic finance industry now worth circa $2 trillion, and with the rapid growth rates, placing this alongside a $60 billion plus growing social impact sector, the theme for this particular panel is very relevant now. And I'd very much welcome and commend the UNDP and the Islamic Development Bank on their global Islamic finance impact and investment platform in bringing this conversation together today. For those of you who are new to social impact investing or impact investing, in essence, it questions at a theological level the exclusive focus of investment on profit, as is very often propagated in the contemporary form of capitalism. And it looks to provide an institutional market framework for financiers seeking both a financial and a social return. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe against the backdrop of the seismic collapse in the banking crisis that we have seen in the West over the past 7 years, the various moral scandals across the banks, be it rate fixing or mis-selling, now more than ever, people in society are raising questions on the moral responsibility of our banking and financial system. Coming from the UK, in the UK alone, we have noted in the last 2 years that from all the new companies that have been registered with Companies House, nearly 25% of all new companies registered have a social mandate within their MEMS and arts embedded within that. For us at the Islamic Finance Council UK, we have been leaders in bringing together all the different players in ethical finance, which has given us unique insights onto specifically in social impact and the impact investment world. A topic which we've been engaged in over the last 4 years with Standard Life Investments, RBS, right through to the government, the UK government, and its framework for social impact bonds. This is a vast, broad topic which has different features for different parts of that spectrum. Some of the considerations that have come out from these conversations, which will be expanded on later today, is we need to think about the role of, not just how much profit we make, but how we make that profit as well. We need to consider technology and how that's become such a massive enabler. For the first time ever, technology has fundamentally challenged the intermediation role of banking, which enables us to decide and have visibility, have transparency and choice, I should say, on where our funds are invested and managed. We have issues relating to millennials. We have the rise of the SRI Sukuk world with the World Bank example and the Kazana example. We have the rise of conscious consumerism, and we have a whole host of challenges as well within the sector on how exactly do you measure social return. Now, some of the early work, whilst it's been done by Sir Ronald Cohen at Bridges Ventures, founding partner at Apex Partners, we still have this challenge to date. How do you measure this? And how do you communicate this to your stakeholders in a clear and concise way? And indeed, is there only one measure for social impact, or should that vary by geography and so on? Today's expert panelists will share their insights on this theme and explore how Islamic finance and social impact can integrate, and what are the elements of creating an enabling ecosystem for such. Is Islamic finance ready for this, or are we still struggling in the Islamic finance world to explain to people what the basics of mudaraba, murabaha, musharaka, takaful is? So these are all very valid challenges. I would now like to invite the panelists to give their preliminary remarks. And if I can ask to kick off on my immediate left, first of all, with Brother Kıvanç, who works at Kuyt Invest in Belgium, which is a pioneering impact investment firm in Brussels. Over to yourself.
Thank you very much. As Mr. Omar mentioned, I work at Kuyt Invest, which is an impact investing firm based in Brussels, which on one side focuses on investing in social businesses that generate social and financial return. But as well, we work on developing innovative financing mechanism that generate both financial and social return. And right now it's already projected. In my speech, I would like to focus on a specific example on how Islamic finance and impact investing collaborate through a specific product to be a force in achieving the sustainable development goals. So there's a huge potential in that collaboration path. Sure. There's a huge potential in terms of the collaboration between Islamic finance and impact investing and helping achieve the SDGs. First of all, the objectives and the underlying philosophy behind Islamic finance and impact investing are in fact very similar. As Mr. Omar mentioned, impact investing is really about generating not only profits, but putting at its core, creating social value. And how does that achieve it? It's really about aligning the key forces, the key stakeholders, so the philanthropists, the capital markets, the corporates, the NGOs, the public space around the same goal, and measuring the impact objectively and bringing effectivity around it. Another key dimension of the impact investing is about sustainability. So impact investing not only focuses on social impact, but also on financial impact, so that those investments can be sustained. When we look at the Islamic finance philosophy and the founding principles, we find very similar principles in terms of having the focus on creating social welfare, having the financial sustainability, so not just giving the one fish to eat, but giving the pole to catch the fish, so that investment can be sustained. So there's really, in terms of the philosophy, a great match. Moreover, so if those, in fact, more of that Islamic financing, both the capital-oriented, market-oriented financing and the philanthropic-oriented, so either the zakats or the other products that are more market-oriented could be channeled through the impact investing, we see a huge potential in helping achieve the SDGs. One of the challenges there, though, and you might ask why isn't that happening today, because it's not right now, it's at a very, very small level, is that one of the challenges is that there are not solid or concrete products that can channel that funding through. And what I would like to talk briefly today is the one such product, which are the development impact bonds that can be structured in a Sharia compliant manner and can be a very important bridge between those two channels. So what is a development impact bond? It's basically a innovative development finance mechanism that allows private investors to finance service providers, be it NGOs or social enterprises, upfront in order to conduct a social outcome. So if certain predefined social outcomes are being achieved by these service providers, then the private investors or the social investors who provided that capital upfront receive a their capital back plus a return. And that funding is provided by what you see here as the outcome funders. In this specific case, either a government, a foundation, a corporate, who will provide that funding only if that predefined social outcomes are being achieved. So what does that really bring in the end? It's, first of all, really allows all the stakeholders to align their incentives around the same point. So all the stakeholders, the private investors, the service providers, the NGOs or the social enterprises, and the government or the foundations who provide the funding at the end, they all try to maximize outcome. And here really the emphasis on outcome, because currently what we see through the current development aid and the humanitarian aid, which is critical in situations, but when the crises are prolonged, we see that the grant funding does not always achieve the impact, because the funding is usually focused short term, is focused on outputs and processes that doesn't always deliver the outcome. And hence, a development finance product that really focuses the NGOs and the targets around achieving those outcomes is really a big shift, requires a big shift in the mentality and the operation of the NGOs. And hence, in addition to the additional funding that it can bring, it really drives a cultural shift within the whole development space. When we look at from a social investor's point of view, it's a complete new product that can allow them to generate not only financial return, but be able to generate the social impact with it. And finally, for the outcome funders, it is a way of externalizing the risk in terms of achieving those outcomes and only paying if certain outcomes are achieved. So as COIS, we're working on several of these such mechanisms, and one of the one that I would like to highlight is around providing livelihoods and job market integration to refugees and vulnerable local population in the Middle East through creation of jobs and creation of companies and access to employment. And that this impact bond mechanism can be Sharia compliant through a murabaha mechanism that you see on my left. So that murabaha mechanism, I don't have time to get into the details of it, but would allow either finance, the market-oriented capital to be a social investor. So instead of, for example, investing in a sukuk or in addition to it, investing in a bond, or philanthropic Islamic funding to come as outcome funders to fund such interventions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kıvanç. Some fascinating insights there around the blended finance piece. If I can now ask Professor Ismail to share his initial preliminary remarks. Professor Ismail is the head of the research division of ETKİ, which is part of the IDB group in Jeddah. Yes. Sure, you're welcome to stand up. Gets the blood flowing. Yeah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Brother Omar, and my colleague, and also the participant of this Bosphorus 7. I prefer to stand up because I've been lecturing for the past 30 years. So I prefer to stand up rather than to sit down, okay, on the chair. And also my talk will be based on my experience as a lecturer in the subject, and also as a staff of the Islamic Development Bank, and also as an Islamic banking advisor to IMF, and also as I've been working as a Syarah committee members for Citibank Malaysia for the past 10 years. Okay, I think all of you agree with the topic that has been presented to us, that there is a link between Islamic finance. There is a link between Islamic finance and also the development. Okay, And in between that, this is impact investment. Okay? In between that two words. And if you don't agree, I don't think you will come to this session. Okay? This is my proposition that we need to link that, because that is what we are trying to prove, that Islamic finance is relevant to the development. Okay? And especially how the Islamic finance is relevant to the SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. Okay? But the first point is, before we discuss further on the subject Islamic finance, we should discuss first on the instrument. Okay? Instrument is very important. All the tools, Islamic finance tool is very important. So if you look at what is the tool of, what is Islamic finance tools? Okay? How can we have a different tool if you want to compare with the conventional banking or conventional financial institution? So actually, if you look at general definition or the standard definition of Islamic finance is, Islamic finance is the Islamic finance that acquire fund that comply the Sharia. Okay? Meaning that here the importance of compliance. Okay? So Islamic finance is Islamic finance that do the transaction that comply the Sharia. So that is the keyword, comply the Sharia. It is like we pray. Right. When we pray every day, let's say we pray us, what is the essential or rukun of our salah? If we fulfill all the rukun, meaning that we comply the salah. So meaning that our salah is valid. So if, let's say, we introduce an Islamic financial instrument, if you don't comply, meaning that the contract is not valid, meaning that it involves or it creates the Sharia risk. Okay? So that is the important here, to comply. But it is not only to comply. The instrument is not only to comply. We should go further than that. Why? Because of what is the purpose of we performing salah? What is the purpose? Every day we perform salah, what is the purpose? Okay? The purpose is to avoid the fasha and munkar. Okay? To do the good deed. Okay? Fasha and munkar. Okay? So, what is the purpose of introducing the Islamic finance? Okay? What is the purpose of introducing the Islamic finance instrument? What is the purpose? Okay? So this is the important is, can we link this purpose with SDG, the goal of SDG? So we introduce this instrument, then we can reduce the poverty. We introduce the instrument, then we can have a zero inflation, we can reduce the climate change, for example. Can we? So based on our experience, my experience, that we can do. Okay, that the problem is when we design the instrument, how can we embed all those elements in our product? If you look at the product design, do you have that? When we submit the product to the central bank for approval, do you have this objective when you want to introduce new product? That this product is aimed to reduce the poverty. This product is aimed to come up with a zero hunger, for example. And this product is aimed to reduce the climate change, for example. Okay? And then we managed to do that. Okay? We produce a product under the Sam Dabi plantation. We call it the SRI, Sustainable and Responsible Investment. So how can we provide the sukuk, issue a sukuk, then the sukuk, the amount from that sukuk issuance can be used to plant the palm oil. So by having more palm oil, so then you can generate more oxygen, then we can reduce the carbon monoxide. So then we can reduce the temperature in Malaysia, okay, by 1%. That is the target. Okay? And at the same time, we also can introduce a crowdfunding platform. This is what we are doing now, work-based crowdfunding platform. Work-based crowdfunding platform where we want to help the country who are in disaster. or we want to use this instrument to help the for hemodialysis